If you're looking to launch small groups, I would start with your key leadership team. I think everything starts with the senior pastor and their buy-in to the system that delivers the vision of your church. Making sure that they're on board and have clear expectations of what's going to happen is going to be important. And then it starts with the highest level. Pastor Chris around here always tells our staff, we lead from the front. We make sure that we're out in front of where we're asking people to go. So we all lead small groups. I would encourage you to consider doing the same, having your key leadership team actually be the first group that goes together and gets trained, leads groups together, considering what it's going to look like. Starting with your key leadership, we'll be able to set the tone for what the future is going to be like. If you were literally to ask me, what do I do to start these small groups? Start with a small group of your leadership team. Take them through a season and help them understand the why behind a free market small group system. Once they've been through, identify key leaders that are going to be your first round of small group leaders at your church. Make sure to take them and put them into small groups with those staff members or key leaders that you've taken through that small group process already. In a second semester in our context, I would recommend that those key leaders actually go through the small group system with your staff or your key dream team. Once they've been through, then you're going to be prepared to launch to your church environment with dream teamers who have been trained and developed, volunteers who get the core culture of who you are, what you're trying to accomplish, and you can actually open it up to the church. Something I would consider is we target the number of people that attend on a Sunday in small groups. We want to have every single one of them in a small group, and even more than that if possible. So how many small groups do you need to launch with? We typically take 10% of our Sunday attendance, and that's a target goal for us. So to get into your mind, if you're starting with, you have 200 people attending on a Sunday, you're probably going to need about 20 groups to maintain a healthy dynamic of leader to group member ratio. So in your first round, you're going to need to look in somewhere between the 15 and 20 member or group leader range so that they can be prepared for the influx of people. Because once the senior pastor starts casting vision around groups and says, this isn't important, we're not just a church that is with small groups, we're a church of small groups, people are going to buy into that and want to look for options. Something we're always considering is how can we create a wide net so that people can find a group that fits them. So if you only have men's groups that are deep Bible study type topics, you might miss the guy who's brand new to the church, just got saved, is starting a relationship with God, and isn't ready for a book of Revelation study. So maybe starting with something a little bit easier for them to connect with, we think about, and what our staff is doing, is thinking about what types of groups do we have, where do we need to target, even laying out a map and deciding we need groups in certain areas or certain days, certain types of groups. We're working with our key leaders to actually identify those areas and make sure that when we launch, we have appropriate coverage and every person in the church can say, I've found a group that I want to be a part of.